Welcome, welcome. I just realized I do not have my white headset on, but I don't know if I need it. Let me go grab it while I wait for some folks to come in here. Well, this will entertain. And we're back. Hold on, baby. Ooh, a grumpy chihuahua wants to share the stage. Okay, Alexis. Okay. Wow. So sorry for the interruption. These doggies are going wild. Okay. Let's see how this is working now. All right. Hop into the comments and make sure everything is streaming okay. I think it is. We got some folks in here. So today's a special one. This is a day, I won't be interacting too much in the comments because I just wanted to play a video for you of somebody who is so inspiring to me and has touched me personally in her journey for closure. And she recently gave an interview, and I thought it would be really fun if we all got to watch it together. I started watching it and it was so touching that I just thought it would be a really good thing for all of us to, I don't know, watch together and make sure that it's really seen by our community because there's a lot of parallels. And what I'm discussing today is Beth Holloway, who's Natalee Holloway's mother and a personal hero of mine for seeking justice for her daughter. And just recently, the murderer of her child came clean and admitted that he did it. And just a few days ago, Jordan Vandersloot on U.S. territory did that. So I thought it would be really cool to watch this video with all of you. If you wouldn't mind dropping a 6 in the chat for me, if everything sounds okay. Sometimes I have co-hosts, today I don't, and it's probably a good thing. I have so much to say. So, Alexis, let me get this dog set up. Thank you, Liz. She doesn't like when I talk into the microphone and not to her. That's Alexis Carrington. So she's being really silly right now. So hopefully she calms down. So today, I really did myself a little dirty because I actually should be with my family right now. But because the policy of Scientology disconnection exists, I'm not. And it's unfortunate. I'd prefer to be grieving with my mom by her side because the viewing for my grandpa is happening at this moment. And I am choosing not to go so that she can hopefully express some grief. And it's something that I would enjoy for her to be able to mourn and say goodbye to her dad, and I don't want to disrupt that, so I've chosen to stay away from that, and I'm going to do my own thing, which is why I'm here talking about it. So part of that is honoring this wonderful mother, Beth Holloway, who didn't give up faith. She kept going until she found the person responsible for taking her child, and she had actually been face to face with him in 2005 in Aruba. She thought she was just looking at a suspect, and it was actually the murderer she came face to face with in the very beginning of her journey. And it happened to be that I was on the Scientology boat, the Freewinds, at the same time. And we had docked in Aruba. And it was quite an experience for me to be able to go through that specific time period of getting off of the boat. I'm not sure why. We were in Aruba for a long time. Like, usually they do the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. I had never gone to Teen Week on the Freewinds. It was supposed to be some big, fun week. I don't know how much fun you can have when you're having to do courses and routing forms and word clearing and clay demos and things. But it was sold to us as fun, and it did seem fun because all the Scientologists could get along from the other coasts. So there was always the East Coast and the West Coast kids of Scientology, and it was kind of totally different crews, but everybody knew each other somehow. And it was really fun for everybody to get together. And I guess Teen Week was one of these ways that everybody knew each other. But I was not there for Teen Week. I was there for a family trip. I was bonding with my, I guess that was the intention, to bond with my new family members because my father had recently gotten remarried to a woman out in Clearwater, Florida. And she has a child who's now in the Sea Organization. I'm not sure where her other child is or her other child, but we all went on a family cruise to the Freewinds, and I think I was 2005. So, I won't give away my actual date of birth, but I was old enough to know that I wanted to go down to the sauna for meditation. In the middle of everything, I needed to just calm down. And I always liked going into the sauna. As weird as it is, I think I was conditioned from it to feel safe and calm in there. Oh, hi, everybody. You're all here. Thank you. Hi, Liz. Hi, Tommy. Hi, Meha. I love your name, and I love that you come and see Elvis on the stream. It's so sweet. He is actually right here on my lap today. I was thinking that before starting this, I could actually, hi Marilyn, yay! I am just saying my highs right now. I'm going to get going with the video in just a second, but I wanted to possibly see if I can show you a picture. And it was something that I completely messed myself up with because I watched this little memorial thing on my grandpa right before I was coming in here, because I didn't know it was there. And I saw the obituary, but I didn't know that the photos were there. And so I opened it, and not only is it beautiful and touching, some of the photos that are on there, but the song that's playing is a song that my mother used to sing to me as a nursery rhyme, and it was "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine, you keep me happy when skies are gray." So it made me start tearing up, and I wanted to try to show you this really sweet photo of my grandpa because he is such a sweet man, and he deserves, here we go, he deserves to be honored today. His name is Grandpa Vince, and he was a wonderful, wonderful Italian man who was a firefighter. He was a veteran. He was a great grandpa. He was a wonderful person. He was a healthy guy. He lived to be in his 90s. And that's what I hope for all of us. He tried to keep our family structure together as much as he could, and he still called me every year, at least once a year, just to say, "Hi, honey." And I listened to a voicemail just yesterday, and it's just so sweet. His voice is so, so, so sweet. I have things that I just cherish forever, and I tend to keep all my voicemails from really important people. So I still have them from mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, people who I've lost along the way. And it's nice to have those things and just remember that that wasn't fake, right? Sometimes when people pass away, we think, was that part of my life even real? But it was. And we can just honor it by remembering those people and talking about them often instead of shying away when they're brought up. I like to honor those who I've lost by talking about them as much as possible. And I know that for some people it's uncomfortable, but for me it's really healing because it's dealing with reality and keeping their memory alive and fresh in my mind. So sorry if it's goth as hell, but I always talk about kind of dark things for that exact reason. So I am going to give a little bit of a description of what it was like in Aruba at the time. I had gotten off the boat. I don't know why. I was alone, just wandering, because I'm just like that. It doesn't. They didn't worry because I didn't. Like nobody needed to worry. I was old enough, like over 18, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah, I was over 18. So I saw a rescue dog or a dog dying one day on the street, and I tried to rescue this dog for 8 hours, like myself. I thought for some reason the Aruban authorities would help me and that they cared because I don't know, I was naive and I thought this was America or something, and I just really tried to get people to help this dog who was laying in the street. So I did get to know the town pretty well. I talked to quite a few authorities, and they all just thought I was so silly for trying to help this dog, and I really couldn't help it. So part of why I am an animal rescue now has to do with always having the capability to like do something if I need to. And that means when I go on vacations, especially down south, I will tell my rescue partners I'm about to go, and they'll say, okay, well, if you need to take anyone home, just let us know. And it's really a nice feeling to be able to travel because it was rough on that boat for me, seeing all the animals struggle, but it was a really beautiful city. Well, island. And I wouldn't actually call it beautiful. It was kind of Disneyland-like. So the beach was beautiful, and the warmth of the people was very welcoming, but it felt like, has anybody ever been to Solvang? Like, it feels very interesting, and I kind of love that. It wasn't nice, though. It was a bit run down, and I knew that they needed tourism as an actual source of income because that's the entire thing is tourism. So having said that, having the abduction of Natalee Holloway happen the week before I was there, and then arriving and having her mom all over the island, the vibe of the island was extremely concerned for Natalee, and extremely also concerned of what does this mean for our island, because it's not okay to kill tourists when you survive on tourism. That's not something that usually happens, and it's similar in a lot of places that have high crime rates. I've been told by friends in Jamaica when I was there that they have almost handled it themselves if people have given tourists a hard time because it is what's good for their economy. So at the time, it was just shocking that a white teenager would be abducted on a school trip to Aruba. It was so uncalled for and unnecessary and sad that her mom was there. And I remember all of the wonderful store owners just telling me, Beth was here. Beth just wants to see her daughter. And it was really inspiring to see this mom, and her dad went out, but then her mom kept going out, and they were having a really, really hard time doing investigations with American investigations. They were waiting for the Aruban authorities to finish. As we know, it has taken 18 years. So this interview was touching to me in so many reasons because she was able to get a certain kind of closure. And it has been that long. And during those days when I was there, I was in a Scientology course room doing a course called The Route to Infinity. And yes, Route to Infinity. I will let that sink in. Um, when you're on the boat, you're required to do a course. You're not just allowed to go on the boat to have fun. You need to pick a course that you'd like to do. So typically that's an introductory style one, although you have to have a reading level and study level high enough to be able to handle it in whatever the time period that you're allotted for that vacation is. So if you can't finish it in a week, they're not going to be choosing that course for you. I would have loved to just do a retread of the basic study manual or something like that, but I had been too advanced in my coursework. Plus, there's things that they only offer on the Freewinds also. Like, I believe that's the point. You have to go to do a service that you can only get there. So between spending time in the course rooms, trying to walk around and feel the culture, which I've always loved, just getting a feel for places solo, and then this abduction of this teenager, it was a frightening and weird, oops, I seem to have blocked myself out. Dang, I hope this catches up for you guys. One moment. Let's see. I'm going to reload it. What a day. What a day. What a day. I hope that I'm not getting stream sniped or something because there's not. Oh, geez. Okay, sorry about that. I feel that, yeah, even I'm annoyed by my own voice, you guys. That's a problem. It's a major problem. I don't know if I'm getting stream sniped or what, but hopefully it doesn't happen again. So I'm going to start this video and hopefully we don't have any problems. The internet looks good. And if we do, we tried, okay? So let me pull up this video because I had it all queued up and then we got froze.
I know you're a mom.
Here we go.
Above all else.
So if you're able to hear this, would y'all throw a 1 in the chat for me?
You're a mom that found yourself caught up in this whirlwind that no one would have ever expected. And here we are. You know, you said in your victim impact statement that you feel a grief that lives deep inside of your soul and extends there. And then I saw you today in front of the courtroom, and I got to be honest, I don't know what a person looks like who has just had the weight of the world lifted off of their chest, but as close as that can be is sort of what you represented today. After having waited so long for answers, how would you characterize the emotions you experienced?
Oh, I don't know if you can really take your emotion and put it into words. It's just, it's a lot of, so many different feelings that are going on, and your mind is racing, and you think about, you begin to go back to the beginning. I think that was the first thing I had, was I went back to day one. I went back to May 31st, 2005 at 4 a.m. I was face to face with my daughter's killer that night at the Holiday Inn, but I didn't know it.
That's the moment. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is just so emotional. So I hope that I'm not going to keep interrupting. I'm pretty much just going to watch it. But I just wanted to make sure that everything was good on the sound. And I see that it is. And I just want to thank you guys for being here with me and honoring this awesome woman, because this is a big day for her and having closure. And it's something that we need to pay more attention to, is mothers and fathers who stick by their children and really have undying, unconditional love for them. So much so that they keep going until they have closure. And this woman is brilliant. This interview is incredible. So thanks for being here.
I didn't know that I was face to face with her killer. I thought I was face to face with a suspect that was involved in her disappearance. So for the first thing that happens is, I think everything just shifts back. It just throws you, kind of slams you back in time. And that was kind of like, those are the first steps that start unfolding in your mind. And to think about, then you fast forward it back. So it's this, flipping back and forth in time of 18 years. What you thought then, what you know now, and you apply it back then. It's just shocking. It's shocking that we had it then, but we just couldn't get him to say it. I admit it.
Why do you think now? Why did he acknowledge this after 18 years?
Well, he'd never been in federal custody. He'd never been picked up by the U.S. Marshals and team of FBI from Miami and Birmingham. He'd never been arraigned in a Birmingham court at Hugo Federal Black Courthouse. So, if there were an incentive, this was every incentive for him to finally tell the truth, because, look, it was real. For the first time we had him. For the first time he was in our custody. It was the first time he was under our federal agents. And we had been begging for that since 05. We had all the federal agents there in 05, but Aruba wouldn't have it. Mm-hmm. They would not have the FBI agent that was standing there ready, willing to do anything and everything. They would not allow them.
And then you personally had to implore, through George, the government of Peru to have him extradited here.
Yes. So George Seymour with Patriot Strategies and his business associate, Mark, they were able to, we felt like Greta and I were carrying this ball and we could push it down the field, but dang, we just couldn't get it over, at the end zone or over the line. And then, when George and Mark stepped in, it was like April of 2023. And then it was just like, I was like, where did these guys come from? So we just had to have George and Mark they are the ones who made it happen, to get it over the finish line. We couldn't do it. We were almost getting shut down because there was a lot of, unfortunately, there was a lot of civil unrest going on in Liban. There was a very tumultuous time with their government and things like that. So I really felt like it's not going to happen.
You said something to me, or you said something earlier today that really struck me. You said that this is better than closure.
It is.
Why is this better than closure?
Well, for me, the never-ending nightmare is over. And I don't, the word closure, I think it's different to all victims. I think they interpret it as different. But, for me, closure is not what I got. I got, it's over. It's solved. Natalie's case is solved. Joran van der Sloot is not her. Is not the suspect in Natalie's disappearance. Joran van der Sloot is the murderer, of Natalee. And that meant that my nightmare is over. And all I've done for 18 years is going down millions and millions of rabbit holes. There were so many swirling theories, and I think in hindsight, maybe there were so many swirling theories is because we couldn't get the answer. We couldn't get anything. We couldn't get Joran.
You've been living with the unknown for 18 years.
Yeah.
Every night that you go to sleep, every day that you wake up, you still did not have finality in knowing what happened to your daughter.
Every morning when I kiss her senior portrait goodbye in my bedroom and tap her on the cheek. You know, we've never been able to put it to rest. And
Now, I'm going to pause and make a comparison that's not the same, but similar to when you don't have answers from people who you love about why did this happen. And there's a lot of fake stories sold to us in Scientology. And when you go to leave, it can be like that 18-year rabbit hole where you just don't know. If you just don't know who a killer is, or you just don't know, is David Miscavige making everybody do this? Is it the CIA? Is it the FBI? Is it the fact that I'm a suppressive person? Is it the psychs? Is it what? Because they just try to feed your brain with all of these things that you're supposed to go down all of these rabbit holes and spin out would be ideal. And also just not knowing why your own family and your own friends, there's no solid reason that they can give you other than just you kind of know that they don't think you're an SP, but they have to do it anyway. So her having this admission is huge. My friend Amy's killer was also found guilty very recently, and her mother was here from Philadelphia for over a month for the trial, and is the strongest woman who I have ever spoken to, because she had to watch crime scene footage of her daughter seizing and dying in front of her, and she still went every day. And a mother's strength to have justice for her child is the most incredible thing I think I've ever seen. So to watch this is just so touching, and I hope that Amy's mother is able to finally get some rest as well, now that this trial is over. So thank you all for being here.
and put all the swirling theories and crazy things to rest. But I was, it's to no fault of anyone. I mean, I was in it too, because we couldn't get the answer.
When you and Dave and Matt were in that room and he was offering his proffer, and we didn't know, I mean, the general public didn't know, was he going to plead guilty to extortion, to wire fraud charges? What were we going to learn? And then all of a sudden, a confession comes out. What went through your mind in that moment?
Well, I was fortunate that I was able to be a part of this process. And I mean, the team here, the team in the FBI in Miami, the FBI in Birmingham, the U.S. Attorney's Office really did an amazing job of letting me understand what was happening real time versus relaying it secondhand. So, you know, it is shocking to hear, of course, but I had to do it. I felt like it was better for me to hear it real time and just brace myself and take the hit, because I had to know.
Were you stunned by the depravity, both of what he did to your daughter, but also the behavior that you mentioned after the fact, right after he'd committed murder?
Exactly. And it was funny because that was what threw me off, and I think it threw a lot of us off in '05, because I'm like, well, okay, how could he have murdered her? And then he goes home and checks the soccer scores, gets on a porn site, and gets up, takes a shower, and goes to school. Well, there you go. There's that other 18 years fast forwarded. Now I know why.
Because he's pathologically
Well,
unhinged?
he's just, you know, all he really has is those functions of existence of anger, killer, sex, and food. I mean, look, he ate his breakfast over Stephanie Flores' bludgeon body. And then with Natalee, of course, when he was denied sexual gratification with her, what does he do? I had to tell him. He goes home, gets on porn to get off. I mean, that's a killer. That is a person with no conscience, no remorse, no guilt. So that there were those little things, those elements. When I go back to '05 and think of 18, what he said now, yeah, that's him, and that's just his mode of existence.
This is a reflection of who he is as an individual, which is to say something that none of us could comprehend in terms of that behavior. And, you know, I'm wondering, as you're learning all of this, you then know I'm going to be confronting this person. And you offered this incredibly brave victim impact statement today.
Yeah.
One of the things that you said to him was, what if your daughter were Natalee? What if you were me? Did you plan that, or was it organic?
It was just organic. And I was kind of, since I was able to hear a lot of things real time, I kind of was beginning to understand what maybe some of his pressure points, and his daughter seemed to be one, which I know a killer typically doesn't have any emotional attachment or anything, but for some reason, even wild animals protect their young. And so, or, sometimes, but I felt like if he only heard this much of what I said, just a scintilla, that it would have been something when I mentioned the name that now I'm going to say we have something in common, a daughter.
Now, I thought this was absolutely brilliant because this is not to manipulate him, even though she has every right to. This man murdered her child. It's to get him to understand, because he's not capable of emotion other than about himself. So she had to tie it into his child, which is truly sad, but she's an incredible woman for doing this.
Because he's very, you start talking about his daughter, that really affects him.
You knew that was a pressure point.
I knew it was a pressure point, but I didn't know how I was going to say it, but I felt like I wanted to leave her name out, and I understand that because she doesn't deserve to have the father that she does.
I watched you walk up to the stand, and the first thing that you did as you got up was you looked at him. Whatever sort of fears or demons or just the reality of knowing what he had done and said, you still looked at him, went to the stand, started your statement, and then looked at him again and said, you look like hell, and I'm not sure you're going to make it. Did that just all materialize in the moment also?
Yeah, it did. I felt like, I guess I thought, victim's impact statement, I thought I was going to be just addressing him personally, like standing like this, face to face with him. So that's why I had, referenced his name more. I didn't realize, and it was fine, I just didn't realize that my back was going to be to him. But I felt like since my impact statement was for and to him, I felt like I had to turn around because that's who the statement was for. And maybe he didn't deserve to see, I think he deserved to see the parts where I felt like were a pressure point for him, his daughter, and his looks.
When he apologized to you, did you take that as sincere?
No, because I know his levels of existence, and that is not it. He doesn't have that in his existence. And I think, just to say the words, it's fine. It didn't mean anything. They don't mean anything.
Were you or Dave or Matt in their impact statements giving, I'm guessing, many, many hours to what you included in there? How difficult was it to form the words to actually say to him in person, once you'd known he'd confessed to killing your daughter?
Oh, it wasn't as hard as what you think. And the reason why is because the not knowing is more torturous than the knowing. And I know parents or families who are victims of, their loved ones are victims in crimes like this. I think that is probably somewhat, I don't know, there's not a normal, but I feel like that is probably could be more common than not. And I think the not knowing is worse. The knowing is shocking. You brace yourself, you take the hit, but the not knowing is the never ending nightmare, and that's worse.
And that's the boat that you were in.
Yeah.
For almost 20 years of your life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now you do know. And the knowing is horrific in terms of the details of what he did.
It is. It is. It is. And it's shocking to us to think that somebody is capable of doing that so nonchalantly. It's almost as if he brushed his teeth and got dressed and drove his car. But remember, I was also able to hear him, say these things. And it's as if it's normal to him. It's if it's routine to him.
It felt perfunctory, you think, as he described it.
Yeah, it's just that's what happened. There was nothing, there's no There's no difference in the tone, or it's just who he is. And I think that is probably typical of a lot of killers. I don't think they have. Obviously, they wouldn't be killers.
And when I saw Amy's killer, it seemed to be the exact same way.
If they had any type of real sorrow or suffering.
I want to ask you about Natalee in a second, and just the freedom you have now to remember her in a way where at least you don't have questions still hanging over your head. To see you smiling, just the idea of that.
Yeah.
But also, just the judge's comments in court struck me too. I mean, I was thinking about what were the things that really stood out. And when she described his behavior as heinous, in her words, for exploiting and choosing someone who was just trying to find information about her daughter who had disappeared, that he had chosen you, but then heinous to the extreme to then knowingly provide that person with false information. What was your reaction to the judge's words and characterization?
I knew it was horrific and shocking, but it was nice for the judge to say it, because just think, I paid my daughter's killer. So I paid killer fees to the person that bludgeoned my daughter to death. I mean, who does that? And who, it's shocking. But it really made me feel stronger with her saying that, because I'm thinking, you know, I get caught up in he's a double murderer.
I'm sorry, but this woman is just a freaking hero. Like,
but I was glad that she brought it out that, you know, not only, I was glad she recognized it as a heinous, horrific act. I was really grateful.
Recognition and empathy, understanding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was very strong about it. And I was shocked. I didn't know that was coming. But I was glad to hear it.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone else was too. Do you think 20 years is enough time? The judge mentioned she didn't want to jeopardize the murder confession by rejecting this deal.
I don't think any victim's family is going to think ever an amount of time is enough. Whether it's the death penalty, I think there's never enough. So here's what I have to take comfort in, is what I needed. And I needed the answers as to what happened to Natalee. And I also remind myself that I'm not the one in 2005 that let him go murder, that let him get, you know, off scot-free of murdering Natalee. They could have found this out. In 2010, I mean, I worked like hell in 2005 trying to keep him in prison or jail. Aruba wouldn't do it. They let him go. I worked equally as hard in 2010 trying to do it, because I knew he was bad. And so I can't take that burden on. That's Aruba's problem. Aruba's the one that has the double murder, not me.
Your mom instinct told you he was definitely involved.
I couldn't hear or see why or how, but now I do hear and see why.
put a 1 in the
How
chat
does
if
this
you
allow you
always
to
thought
just
it
love and
was
appreciate
him.
your daughter and who she was and her dreams even more?
Well, I think now it becomes easier for me to appreciate her life through my son's life and through his children's lives. And I hadn't really been as, you know, I've been a little distracted. So I feel like now I can kind of like, oh, now I can focus on that.
Invest as a grandparent and a parent in the way that you want.
Instead of I'm not illegal. I'm not supposed to be investigating something for the rest of my life.
That's the way you felt for basically a decade and a half.
Yeah.
How did you do this? How did you go and talk to people and warn parents and try to create awareness while dealing with the pain and the anguish that you no doubt were experiencing every day?
Well, I'm an educator. So I've been an educator for over 30 years. And I think for me, it's about, sharing life lessons and the hard lessons that we learned. Because I was really, in the tragedy, I was really fortunate to be able to have those opportunities to go and to speak to other young adults, So anyway, that was kind of one of the silver linings in it.
It was. And I want to say, too, I spoke with John Q earlier this week, and he said this traumatized a generation of families and kids worried about sending their daughters to vacations with their high school classmates because of what happened.
Yeah.
Does any of what happened in the last 24 hours for you embolden this as a deterrent and for people to know there will be justice at the end of the day?
I hope it will give families that are searching for either their loved one's perpetrator, or maybe they're just searching for the remains of their loved one or what happened to them. But I hope that in some way it will give them hope and encouragement to persevere and to just never give up and to just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Because, look, I didn't know where I was going. 18 years, I never had a destination. You just keep going and you hope you'll get there, but you don't really get caught up in that. You just keep going on the destination to see where you're finally going to arrive.
It does strike me as a parent. I think about if anything ever happened to me, what my mom would do or say. There's nothing in the world. No one will love you like your mom loves you.
Yeah.
And so I feel like you've sort of taken that and made that your mission, not just for you, but for other families as well.
Yeah.
Is that how it feels?
Yes, it does. And I have spoken to tens and tens and tens of thousands of these young adults and all over the United States and even other areas. So, and it just feels good to, I think all of us just need kind of a heads up or personal safety reminder or just something to get us out of our sense of complacency. So I feel like that was good work, and I'd pledged that in Aruba in 2005 that I was going to pound those podiums and tell these young adults a personal safety, travel safety lesson. So I'm fortunate that I was able to do that. And in some way, that was also helping me heal as well.
And now that you're at least in the process of healing with this information, how are you going to remember, Natalee, just the fact that you said she had aspirations to be a mom, but also a doctor? You could see the path, right?
Yeah.
And you've been so obsessed, singularly, rightfully so, for trying to figure out what happened to your daughter all of these years.
Yeah.
How do you remember her now in light of this?
As I said, I think I remember her now. I know it's like through my son. I see her life living through him. And he's become so accomplished. He's an airline pilot and 2 beautiful children and a family. And, and that's what, I know Natalee would have been equally as accomplished as her brother, Matt. So that is what, I want to focus on now. And I don't know, wake up tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day. But today was a victory. And that's when you transition truly from victim to victor. So today was it.
An undoubted victory. Last 2 questions, just logistical. One, the corroboration. I was kind of confused.
Yes.
Are they going to corroborate? How are they going to corroborate this? So
Well,
you took polygraph tests. How confident are you right now that this is the real truth?
It wasn't just a polygraph test. I mean, we have to think about this was a whole series of different things that were going on events. The proffer. Then I was able to see everything real time, which was another very fortunate aspect. And also was able to meet the team, meet the polygrapher, and they're coming in. These teams came in from Miami, and we have the Birmingham FBI, we have the Miami FBI, we have the polygrapher. Then it was a whole process that went, that was transpiring in order to get to the truth and have the U.S. District Attorney and everyone and all of us confident.
You feel confident they've arrived at the truth.
Yes. Yes.
And then lastly, how did you know his activity, all the things that he did after the fact? I know you cited it in court today, the perverse behavior following. But did investigators tell you that?
I was able to sit and listen to him real time.
He actually acknowledged this himself, that he
Yes.
did those things.
Yes. Yes.
And you have to face this human being again.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that must have been the hardest thing you've ever done in your life.
It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I was so grateful to have the answer because, as I said, the not knowing is more torturous than the knowing. It had to be done.
Thank you so much for doing this, Beth. I'm sorry that you've had to do another interview, and it's like right now, probably just trying to get to the finish line. But thank you for allowing people who have followed your life story so closely to know what you're going through right now.
Very grateful for everyone's support. It's been just so heartwarming, so just incredible. Thank you.
Blessings to you and your family, and hopefully tonight will be a lot easier than previous nights.
Yeah, it will be. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. I shed quite a few tears. Her ability to stay so composed and share a message with us all through her grief is a really good reminder that you don't have to pretend to be okay. You can just be real and continue to use your voice. And if you cry, but it's not a message that needs to be kept down. It's a message that needs to be made very loud when you are looking for somebody who you love and when you need answers and when you need justice. So I just wanted to share this with every single person out here, especially the SPTV creators who are tirelessly just doing this for not clout, I'll tell you that. Like, at least the ones who I know personally. I don't know who else is on here these days, and I can't vouch for everybody, but I can vouch for my friends and the people who you see me regularly on with. You know who I'm regularly on with. And it's pretty nice to have this community of support. And as my grandfather's viewing just ended 2 minutes ago, I don't have to be alone during this. There's another thing that I'll be missing later. But I'm going to take some time and just go through photos. The last time I saw my grandpa actually was, for anybody late or who missed it or came in at a different point, today my family is together and I am not, due to the Scientology disconnection policy. I've chosen to remove myself from the situation so that other family members can grieve. And I would not cause a situation or any type of barrier there. And I know it's not something I have to do, but it is something that I chose to do, and it's probably one of the last things that Scientology will take from me, hopefully. I don't have many more people to die in my life, hopefully. Such a nice dog I have here, like so cuddly and cozy, huh? Hi, Alexis. But I felt that today would be a good day to honor Miss Holloway, Mrs. Holloway, Natalee's mother, who is such a beacon of strength. She's an educator, and I just really respect the bejesus out of her because she's a beautiful woman. And hope to have similar life experiences when she was speaking about how, you know, she had to go through the tragedy to gain access to be able to talk about these messages that people don't talk about very often. I really related to that. So that is a lot of the reasons why we're here discussing things like this. We're waiting for the federal authorities to hopefully do something. But our sense of justice has never been there. In my opinion, hearing that people get justice, you know, that's the one thing they can get. Families can get that closure, hopefully, like that confession, hopefully. It would be nice to hear, yes, the Church of Scientology did y'all wrong. It wasn't okay. Instead of showing up at the protests and having it feel like the cops are on Scientology's side. It's just a very bizarre parallel to live in two different worlds where on one hand, it's completely recognized as child abuse and emotional abuse, if not physical. Come here, honey. Neglect. All sorts of things when you're developing children have hopefully what you would hope, no emotions and just like be tone 40 and have your TRs in all the time. I would not understand how that wouldn't cause the type of sociopathic behavior that was described in that video. That's what happens when you make people suppress their emotions their whole lives. And then if they can turn them on again, sometimes they come out flooding. That's okay. I don't mind crying, and I hope you guys don't either. So, thank you all for being here, sharing this time with me. Oh, hi, Elvis. There's a baby that came back. He's been streaming because people seem to really enjoy it. So we're going to keep doing it. We're going to do the Elvis Cam every night. And not only do they enjoy it, but it's helping me with my watch hours so that I can get monetized. I think I have about 1,000 left. We've been killing it. So anybody who wants to keep the stream on, there he is. You can probably hear him in the background. That's a happy girl. That's a happy girl. Hi, Stacy. I hope you got the photos I sent you. We had a nice time bringing Serge Oblensky his gift over the weekend, spending time with him. I have so much media and all this cute videos and things from the protests that I haven't even been able to really look at. So just this morning I got you that photo, but it was a really lovely time and he was so happy to have that big gift. So you guys having big hearts and getting us whatever, like out of your way, just totally figuring out how to find us and then asking if it's okay and then bringing presents for people who you've never even met is just so heartwarming. So thank you for being there. I will talk to you all later. Yeah, I saw I'm a bit behind. Your end actually confessed to an undercover journalist. Yeah, we had seen that, so that's why it was kind of like, didn't we all know this? It was just that it wasn't official. So that's the problem. Like we also deal with a lot of this outside inside world Scientology stuff when we're going back and forth between worlds. It's like, wait, did that happen or did that not? Are you lying now or are you not? Are they really that wildly mean? Are they like, is Osa really coming onto the property? Like things like that you're like, what? I don't even know if that's true because I didn't think that when I was in it. But you don't know about the things that they do because they keep it that way so that you can be a happy church member, you know? Church. Deuces, y'all. I'm going to play the outro and thank you for being here. Thank you. Please don't forget, like, subscribe, comment afterwards maybe. That would be super cool. And talk to you later.